Finally here tonight, there are few things in life more important than good friends. CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road for a friendship that brought a community together.
Every week, Andy Gullahorn goes for a walk. And every week, about 1.5 miles away, his friend Gabe Scott does the same thing at the same time. They walk toward each other, and when they meet, it's the weirdest thing. You see that? Clap, snap, high five. Then, often, they simply walk home. The whole exercise, their way of saying hi.
I've got a friend who literally will walk through the rain and the snow just to give me a high five. And I wish everybody could feel that feeling.
As we first reported in 2021, Andy and Gabe are musicians in Nashville. They met at a concert, got together on occasion, but not as often as they would have liked. So they invented this little bit of silliness as a way of guaranteeing they see each other at least once a week.
So this is the high five journal.
Andy has a log of every encounter, including the one that was nearly their last.
It was high five number 312.
Gabe was hospitalized with a severe form of encephalitis. It caused his brain to swell and robbed him of his past.
I pretty much forgot my life.
Your whole life?
Yeah.
And that's when his buddy Andy, now a virtual stranger, came to visit.
I said, well, Gabe, this is going to sound really weird, but I need you to do something for me. Give me a high five.
When the moment happened, my body just did what it's been doing for years. Clap, snap, high five.
It's been 3.5 years since we first told this story. Gabe's memory is much better, and the tradition still strong. In fact, the guys recently invited friends, fans, and family to celebrate 10 years of high fives. Yay! Another memory to cherish for a man who nearly forgot it all.
It's really special to have a memory of something. To have something that's this consistent in my life, that means this much.
Andy even wrote a song about their ritual.
So take a walk with me on Monday morning.
It's a reminder that going out of your way for someone is still the straightest path to an everlasting friendship.
Knowing the small things matter.
Steve Hartman, CBS News, on the road.
Thank you very much.
CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road with 2 police officers and their incredible connection beyond the badge.
Retired South Bend, Indiana Police Lieutenant Gene Eister says he can't drive past this apartment complex without reliving that day.
That was one of the strangest calls I think I've ever had. We have a found baby in a box. Yeah, you always wonder, what happened.
A newborn abandoned in a common hallway. It was 24 years ago, just before Christmas. And for Gene, the case of that baby boy Doe, swaddled in cardboard and blankets, didn't end after the child got to the hospital.
No, I went back with a teddy bear. Just a symbol. Let everyone that walked past know that he was cared about.
And you never forgot?
Nope. None of it.
For more than 2 decades, he wondered what became of this boy. Unfortunately, records were sealed, so there was no way to find out.
Until a few weeks ago, when Gene got a phone call from a fellow officer. Guy said, remember that case, the baby left in the cardboard box? Well, you're not going to believe this.
And I thought, well, what? And he says, he's sitting next to me. I said, he's what? He's my rookie.
Meet Officer Matthew Hegedus Stewart. After his rescue, Matt was placed for adoption. He always knew he'd been left in a box, but only connected the dots to Gene after joining the department. Today, he wears the same uniform Gene did and patrols the exact same neighborhood.
Full circle moment. That hit home. I can only imagine from his point of view.
What it means?
Yeah.
He really can't imagine.
How you been? Good, how are you?
Because what to Matt may feel like coincidence, to Gene feels divined. Their reunion, this new friendship, it's all happening just a few months after Gene's only son, Nick. died unexpectedly at the age of 36.
So the timing couldn't have been any better. It helped fill a void that I've had to deal with.
24 years ago, Gene was called to be there for a child in need. Now, the child is set to return the favor. And whether it's a coincidence or not, the result is undeniably great police work. Steve Hartman, on the road in South Bend, Indiana.
Tonight, CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road with a college basketball coach who gave a big assist to a young cancer patient.
You can't hear him over the crowd, and that may be a good thing, as Auburn University coach Bruce Pearl sneers and snarls his way through yet another basketball game.
You see him on the court being tough and stuff to all the players, but there's a whole totally different side of Bruce outside of basketball, which is a nice, loving, and caring person.
Auburn freshman Sam Cunningham's unique perspective comes from his greatest struggle. When he was 12, Sam was diagnosed with leukemia, and not long after, someone asked Coach Pearl to record a video for him.
You're gonna beat this, son. Cancer? Pick the wrong hombre. Pick the wrong dude to mess with, okay?
It was just real funny to me. Cancer picked the wrong hombre. It picked the wrong dude to mess with. That quote is what I kept with me when I got in my darkest days in the hospital and stuff.
Through all his complications,
You're gonna beat this, son.
through his relapse,
Pick the wrong hombre.
through the days that felt like they would be his last,
Pick the wrong dude to mess with,
Sam kept watching that video over and over.
okay?
Eventually, Coach Pearl delivered the same lines in person,
Pick the wrong dude.
and they became friends. And then one day, Bruce gave him another, even more inspiring message.
Tell you what, you're gonna get better. You're gonna come to Auburn, and you're gonna be my assistant. And he takes me at my word.
He believed it.
He did, and he is.
Today, he is the team manager and so happy to be here. In fact, Sam says Coach Pearl's encouragement may have saved his life.
That truly healed me. I didn't think I would really get to this point from all the complications I had, so that was pretty amazing. I'm just a miracle to be here right now.
This month, college coaches across the country will be praying for a national championship. But here at Auburn, this coach will be asking for something far more consequential.
In my prayers, it's, God, don't let this thing relapse. Take me. Let Sam live.
Basketball seasons come and go, but great coaching lasts forever. Steve Hartman, on the road in Auburn, Alabama.
Finally tonight, CBS's Steve Hartman visits an old friend who likes giving complete strangers the benefit of the doubt. We find out why on the road.
From a desperate place across the Atlantic, a suspicious message went out. My name is Joel from Liberia, West Africa. I need some assistance from you, business or financial assistance that will help empower me. And 6,000 miles away, a stranger answered.
I just wanted to go down this rabbit hole and see what were the tricks that they used to get people.
You were wrong about him.
So I took him for a scammer, but he showed me that there was a different side to him.
As we first reported in 2018, Ben Taylor of Ogden, Utah befriended the stranger and helped him help himself. He worked with Joel to make a little booklet about his life.
And I sold it online to whoever was interested in the story or whoever was just interested in helping a guy out.
And from those sales, Joel was able to earn hundreds of dollars.
Is this your home?
Oh yeah, this is my home.
Ben even visited to see the results of their partnership firsthand.
Brand new roof.
It looks good, man.
Yeah.
As you might expect, after that story first aired, lots of people tried to seize on Ben's kindness. His spam folder blew up with supposedly desperate pleas, like the woman in Cameroon who said she needed money for reconstructive plastic surgery. The same letter had been circulating on the internet for years. It was even posted on a scam reporting website.
But I read into her story and it felt like something that I couldn't ignore.
So you believe somebody again?
I did a lot of work to kind of get to the bottom of it.
Turns out the story is true. Chica Ordery had a botched surgery as a child that left her with intermittent but excruciating pain.
Hi, Chica Ordery.
So, a couple months ago,
It's me, Mr. Ben.
Ben did as he'd done before.
How are you?
Flew to see the woman so many others had written off as a scammer, and showed her the book,
This is the book
that would pay for her operation.
that you wrote.
It's just a lot of fun to see people kind of be the hero of their own story. Hi, Chica Ordery. You look like someone who just got out of surgery.
Thanks to you, Mr. Ben.
Twice now, Ben Taylor has gone halfway around the world to help a stranger and inspire you. Not to go answer your spam mail, just open your mind to the possibility that some people may be better than you think.
Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, I'm fine.
Steve Hartman, CBS News, on the road.
Finally tonight, CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road with a Memphis gym owner who found building muscle is nothing compared to building someone's character.
It's okay.
Here at the God Body Gym in Memphis, owner Roderick Duncan says real change never happens overnight.
10.
But he says it always starts in an instant.
7.
Or in this case, an instant
4.
cup of coffee.
2. Time.
A few months ago, Roderick says he noticed someone behind his gym.
Saw this guy sitting in the vehicle.
He says the man was sleeping in one of his old cars.
Homeless? Homeless guy had to be.
So, camera rolling, he opened the door and told him to get out.
Come on, get up out my car, man.
And because the door doesn't lock, the next day, same problem.
Look at you, man.
And he kept coming back.
He kept coming back.
And so it went, until Roderick tried a different approach.
Before I could knock on the window, I said, you know what? I came back in here, I made him a cup of coffee.
And on those grounds, Roderick began to build a relationship with 24-year-old Brian Taylor. He learned about his troubled childhood and his drinking problem, and then got him some clothes, took him to get an ID, and drove him to job interviews. He even gave him a spot on his couch.
Brian says he couldn't be more grateful, but he doesn't always show it, whether not following the rules or violating a trust. Roderick says there have been many times over the past few months where he's told Brian, that's it, that's the last straw. And every time, it's not.
Some people need more than one chance. You know, some people, it takes a while for most kids to stop bumping their head. You always have to work on you.
And that patience may be the greatest gift he's given this young man.
Everything you did yesterday is what got you in the situation today. So everything you do today is going to be preparing you for tomorrow.
And both men agree. Tomorrow is looking brighter.
I got a job. I got more confidence. I got a smile on my face.
Good thing. Because Roderick says if Brian messes up one more time, he's done helping.
That's it.
Why do I not believe that?
Well, I don't believe it either.
Unconditional love.
It's crazy.
Forgiveness to a fault. Steve Hartman, on the road in Memphis.
Finally tonight, CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road with a story about faith, friendship, and freedom.
Seeing her there, cuddled up with her crossword, you would never guess 80-year-old retired school teacher Jenny Schrappen had a pen pal in the penitentiary, especially not one accused of that terrible 6-letter word that starts with M.
He was in prison for murder.
So I got to ask, what were you thinking?
I've been accused of being naive before, and that's okay. I wasn't worried. He's not going to come and get me.
No? We'll answer that door in a minute. But first, how did this sweet little lady cross paths with Lamar Johnson, a man serving a life sentence in a Missouri prison?
25 years ago, a deacon at Jenny's church outside St. Louis handed her a letter from this prisoner. The guy had written the church hoping that someone, anyone, would just write back.
And so I did it. What was it going to cost me? A stamp.
Over the next 2 decades, they corresponded constantly. And although Jenny says she could tell right from the start that there was no way that nice boy committed murder, It would take the state of Missouri 28 years to confirm her intuition.
Is granted.
A couple months ago, after the Midwest Innocence Project got involved and the real killer confessed, Lamar was exonerated at the age of 49.
You did it, Lamar.
Lamar spent the next few weeks doing all the things he couldn't do in prison,
Mr. Johnson hugging a tree,
including traveling to see one of his best friends at her house for the very first time.
Look at you!
Ginny welcomed him in, gave him a tour,
This was a new window.
a box of his favorite cereal, and one last letter.
You deserve the best, Lamar.
But Lamar says the greatest gift will always be the confidence she instilled in him.
Especially when somebody is innocent. You want someone to believe in you. Because when you have people that believe in you and they won't give up on you, then it makes it harder for you to give up on yourself.
Lamar says that's what helped get him through 28 years of injustice and now inspires him to serve a life of friendship. Steve Hartman, On the Road, near St. Louis.
What a guy.
Now a story about the kindness of a stranger and the astounding way it changed a refugee's life. Here's Steve Hartman, On the Road.
I really like this one.
For Ida Zhugai of Boston, Massachusetts, no matter what shows up under the tree this year, she says no present will ever compare to a gift she got back in 1999 on one of the scariest days of her life. Civil war was raging in Yugoslavia, bombs closing in on her family. So Ida's parents put their 11-year-old daughter and her sister on a plane to the U.S. by themselves. Ida vividly remembers the fear, but remembers just as well the comforting stranger seated next to her, an American.
I remember how kind she was to us, treating us like her family. So it was a bit of a shock, to be honest.
Especially when she handed you the envelope.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that somebody had so much empathy.
The outside of the envelope read in part, "I hope your stay in America will be a safe and happy one." Signed, a friend from the plane, Tracy. And when Ida opened it, she found a $100 bill inside.
Ida and her sister moved in with a relative who didn't have too much more than they did. So that $100 bill fed the family for 3 months. And Ida says it continues to feed her soul to this very day.
That's why I actually kept Tracy's letter, because it's a reminder to me that people are good.
It has also been a main driver in her life. Ida owns 2 businesses that promote environmental and social justice.
The reason why I do what I do is because of Tracy. Every decision that I made had to do with paying it forward. I was wondering if you can help me find Tracy.
A few years ago, Ida put word out on social media, hoping to find the woman who gave her life direction. She spent years searching, until not long ago, when her message finally got through to Tracy Peck of Blaine, Minnesota. Tracy, Ida, and her sister Vanya reunited last weekend.
We just stood there and hugged and cried, and I just felt such a deep love for them.
I can't wait to come to your wedding.
Tracy Peck gave away $100 to total strangers, but she says the gift she has gotten in return is far more precious.
They've taught me the slightest thing that you can do for someone, you don't realize what impact that's going to have on their life. We have no idea.
But if you're lucky, maybe someday, you will. Steve Hartman, CBS News, On the Road.
McDonald's restaurants serve billions of hamburgers every year, but there's one restaurant where the workers are the ones being served and saved, thanks to a very special woman. Here's CBS's Steve Hartman with this week's On the Road.
Of all the fates that could have fallen on 18-year-old Emmanuel Graham, business student at the University of Massachusetts Lowell seemed most unlikely of all. Both his parents died before his 13th birthday.
After those years, I kept messing up in school because both of my biggest support systems, they were gone.
So you were rudderless all the way through junior year in high school?
I didn't think I would make it to college or senior year.
Emmanuel credits his remarkable turnaround, at least in part, to a mentor, a woman who has offered countless kids in Lynn, Massachusetts, a heaping helping of love and guidance, along with a side of fries.
Hola! I get so excited when I walk in the door because I know what I'm coming to now. I'm coming to my family.
This is McDonald's assistant manager, Andrea De La Rosa. Emmanuel used to work for Andrea and gave her the nickname Mama McDonald's.
I appreciate you, Mama.
You never stop being a mother just because they're not your kids.
To Andrea, managing young people on their first jobs is about so much more than barking orders. It's about listening.
I went to school today.
Helping with homework, college applications, really any issue, at any hour, for every kid who works here.
She treats me as if she's her child. She always checks on me. She makes sure I have everything that I need.
It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. At night, she'll pick up. She will pick up. Like, I don't have like a relationship with my mother. Dre gives me the mother figure that I never had.
It's just a little bit of kindness, a little bit of love that means the world to somebody.
At a time when most employers are offering incentives if you stay, Andrea is offering unconditional love, no matter where your career takes you. And as a result, employees are receiving bonuses of immeasurable value.
To have a person of support to help me go through it, it kind of like slowly healed like what I was missing.
And as for his future, Emmanuel says he doesn't know yet what kind of business he'll go into. He just knows the kind of boss he wants to be. Steve Hartman, On the Road, in Lynn, Massachusetts.
So, when it comes to heroes, you couldn't find a better example than the one in our next story. CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road with an update about our past, present, and future.
It all began here in Raleigh, North Carolina,
A1.
with a flurry of plastic bombshells.
You sunk our battleship!
As we first reported in 2015, Carter and Jack Hansen were really into Battleship, which led to a family vacation to see the Yorktown, a retired aircraft carrier in Charleston, South Carolina.
I just realized how amazing history could be.
And it was about to get even better. On that same trip, the boys learned about a World War II vet named Robert Harding, who actually served on the Yorktown. They got his email address, started corresponding daily, and even put his picture by their beds. Give them the chance and they'd chew your ear off about Mr. Harding and what he did on board as a plane handler.
And when the plane's ready to launch, he would like go unstrap this, and the plane would like go flying that direction.
The folks who run the Yorktown say a lot of kids love the ship, but no kid has ever fallen for a sailor who served here like these two boys have fallen for Mr. Harding, which is why, for this trip, the Yorktown made special arrangements
Okay.
for a surprise visitor.
Mr. Harding?
That's right.
Hugging an old salt never felt so sweet.
Oh, you're a good boy.
It was hard to tell who enjoyed it more or who needed it more.
Japanese plane.
Over the years, Mr. Harding says he'd kept most of his war stories to himself.
You know, where they were firing, I guess I need somebody to talk to about it. It's surprising the way it worked out.
Since we first told this story, the kids have stayed in touch with Mr. Harding, sending hundreds of emails, each one signed, "Your friends and shipmates." Once they even turned the tables on Mr. Harding, surprising him at his house in Oklahoma. Whoever said history is irrelevant, obviously, never fell in love with it.
We don't know about how we've changed his lives, but we know that he obviously changed ours.
Steve Hartman, CBS News, On the Road.
A World War II veteran took on an urgent mission more than a decade ago, and it just paid off. Here's CBS's Steve Hartman on the road.
Inside the Vitalia Senior Residences in Strongsville, Ohio, 95-year-old Frank Grassberger sits on a treasure. Literally sits. In fact, Frank says, other than his wife Dolores, almost nothing matters more to him than this note, which he carries everywhere.
I'd never be without it.
Why did it matter so much that you have it with you all the time?
Because it's something that somebody thought of me that much.
When he has that letter with him, he has a feeling of faith and trust and love.
To understand how a letter can do all that, you first need to know that Frank is a World War II veteran. And back in 2009, a third grader wrote to thank him for his service. If it wasn't for you, we would never have freedom. I'm so happy you made sacrifices. Your friend, Deshauna Priest. To Frank, that simple thank you came to symbolize a life well served.
I'm tickled at that I have a letter like this.
He wanted to thank the author.
We never could find her. He says, before I close my eyes, I have to find her. I have to find her.
Just about everyone who works here was well aware of Frank's attachment to that letter and his decade-long desire to find the little girl who wrote it. So the staff did some sleuthing. And lo and behold,
Hey.
Deshauna is now 21. She vividly remembers writing the letter as a school assignment because she so admired people in uniform.
Just like, wow. Like,
I get to write to a veteran.
Yeah.
So it was like an honor.
Yeah.
An honor that continued.
So here she is.
When Deshauna surprised Frank in her National Guard uniform.
Honest to God, oh, I love you so much. You can't imagine the feeling I had when she stood next to me. It just took my breath away, it really did.
I thought, where's his heart pills? Because I thought, oh, this is it. This is the big one.
I'm telling you, this is a godsend. It really is.
Fortunately, Frank's heart only swelled and may never return to its original size.
So this is the beginning of something.
Yeah. Friendship. Family, not friendship.
There's love there, deep down in the heart. She's like my third daughter. She really is.
It started with a lot of love and affection, and it's ending the same way.
Who knew a simple thank you could make a life complete? Steve Hartman, On the Road, in Strongsville, Ohio.
What would you say if you came face to face with the people who gave you a second chance at life? CBS's Steve Hartman is on the road with a reunion more than 3 decades in the making.
She's got one. Wine.
Fishermen are known for their fish stories.
Holy mackerel.
But the whopper that charter boat captains Mark Paisano and Paul Strasser are about to unspool is all too real.
That story, it just really throws a loop at me. It was catastrophic. Imagining what she went through that day is unspeakable, really.
35 years ago, Paul and Mark were piloting a charter back from Catalina Island off the California coast when they came across a capsized boat and an orange life vest bobbing in the waves. Mark jumped in and pulled out 9-year-old Desiree Rodriguez, the only survivor. Her mother, father, sister, aunt, and uncle all perished. Desiree had been in the water 20 hours.
It was against all odds that she was still coherent and alive.
This was the last time Paul and Mark ever saw little Desiree, and they've always wondered about her.
Okay.
Which is why a podcaster named Phil Friedman invited the men on his show.
Mark Paisano.
Hi.
Along with a surprise guest.
I'm going to let her introduce herself to you.
I'm Desiree.
The brims of their ball caps weren't nearly wide enough to hide the joy. 35 years not nearly long enough to erase the bond.
I'm so happy.
When I connected with them, they brought a lot of closure.
Since then, they have stayed in touch. And this week, Paul and Mark invited Desiree, the aunt who raised her, and the rest of her family to take a little trip. It was Desiree's first time back on the ocean, a journey that would bring her full circle.
This is basically the area right here.
Right back to where it all happened.
I'm kind of glad we can kind of come together today and kind of heal.
The bodies of her father, sister, and uncle were never recovered. This was their first memorial. a commemoration of the family she lost, but also a celebration of the guardian angels she gained.
Right, yeah. And that's how I feel. I hope to know you guys forever.
You know, everybody says God works in mysterious ways. I feel like, you know, let's find you.
Fishermen usually tell stories about the one that got away, but Paul and Mark will always cherish the one who got to stay. Steve Hartman, CBS News, on the road.
All right, we hope you don't get rattled easily because we think our final story might just tickle your funny bone. Here's CBS's Steve Hartman with tonight's On the Road.
It's hard being an only child.
Put the dirt in there.
Especially during a pandemic. Which may explain why 2-year-old Theo Brady of Salt Lake City, Utah, recently felt a strange attraction to a Halloween decoration.
I think he got kind of lonely and he found this skeleton and is like, oh, this can be my friend.
So, to placate her son, Abigail Brady agreed to something utterly ridiculous.
Like, I was just swallowed all my pride and was like, you know, if this makes my son happy, I'm gonna do it.
Do what, you ask? Take them on a play date to the beach. Abigail was secretly hoping that would be the end of it, but the pair hit it off famously, and for the last month, Theo and the skeleton, who they named Benny, have been joined at the hip bone, dining together, dressing up as ghosts, and winding down at the end of a hauntingly long day.
Yeah, some weird way it's comforting. He likes to read Benny books, which is so cute and creepy, but cute. Are you excited to take Benny to the grocery store?
Creepy, but cute. It's not exactly what most parents want for a baby's first bromance, but the bond is undeniable. No bones about it. Whether they're at the market or on the playground, if not for a lack of an epidermis, you'd swear this skeleton was Theo's brother from another mummy. In fact, at times, Benny almost seemed happy.
Look.
His humorous clearly showing. And who wouldn't want this kind of friend for their child?
He just sees the skeleton as someone that needs love.
Yeah, I think it's fine, unless he starts walking around with a casket.
Yeah, then that's like, oh my gosh, too far.
But for now, it's nothing to be scared of.
That's okay.
In fact, this October especially, I think we could all benefit from a little less fright and a lot more
Oh, you're so nice.
friendly. Steve Hartman, CBS News, on the road.
Some relationships simply defy explanation. Here's CBS's Steve Hartman on the road at sea.
It can be a lonely job, pulling lobster traps way out here in the middle of the Gulf of Maine. But for 15 years, Captain John Mikowski had company, a faithful companion. In fact, he says, maybe a little too faithful.
She comes right up to the window and is looking at me this far away. I mean, it's just staring at me. You know?
John's stalker girlfriend, who he named Red Eye, showed up one day in 2005 and basically never left. Until a few months ago, when Red Eye suffered a leg injury. John knew a seagull couldn't live long like that.
How hard was it for him?
Oh, very, very difficult.
John's wife, Debbie.
To watch John and to see how sad he was. I could tear up right now.
I don't know why I was so emotionally crushed, but there was a piece missing. I was beginning to wonder how much longer I felt like doing this.
So, in an attempt to save his passion for the sea, he tried to save that seagull. Actually caught her and brought her to the Center for Wildlife in Cape Nettic, Maine. The staff nursed Red Eye while John spoiled her with brown hake, her favorite kind of fish. And would you believe, just a few weeks later, Red Eye was good as new. Earlier this month, John released the bird back into the wild.
Perfect.
Of course, the wild was never really Red Eye's thing, which is why, still today, no matter where John is in this great ocean,
that's her.
Red Eye somehow finds him.
Atta girl.
For centuries, boat captains have believed seagulls carry the souls of lost sailors. And for this fourth-generation lobsterman, that is a comforting thought. that maybe Red-Eye is an ancestor looking out for him. But John says it's more about something far less mystical. It's about the purpose that is found whenever two living creatures truly need each other. Steve Hartman, on the road, in the Gulf of Maine.